and I saw someone immediately put out my number one. So sure, let's go for it. Monty Python. And I'm not going to limit this to one of the Monty Pythons, though. I am one of the odd people that actually prefers the meaning of life to a Holy Grail. For me, it goes meaning of life, Holy Grail, Life of Brian. Is there a fourth one? There is. I can't remember it right now. But yeah, for other people, I feel like the number one for most people tends to be Holy Grail. Either way, number one, Monty Python movies in general. They have some of the most quotable lines you will ever hear. They always make me laugh my ass off from beginning to end. There is never a time while watching Monty Python movies that I think about anything else, because they just come at you with joke after joke after joke. They're all related to the real world all of the time. Even though they're like decades and decades old, it's still very relatable humor that you find yourself laughing at, and you're like, huh, I didn't even know that that was still a joke we could make. But yeah, the fact that they started off that long ago and we're still able to stick with us, like, some of it's just so completely removed from reality. Like, I remember the Black Knight who has his body parts cut off bit by bit, and just like, here's a flesh wound. No, you're missing an arm. Oh, I'm not. Like, continues fighting even as he loses things. Like, oh my god, that's great. Oh man, there's so many jokes about religion when it comes to the meaning of life I probably don't want to dive into, but they're fucking hilarious. Some of them are very like serious and related to things that were happening at the time. Some of them are just timeless and will stick with you no matter what. Then there's the Life of Brian, which is literally about essentially Jesus. Oh man, it's so wild. I think that's why so many people can like enjoy the Holy Grail so much more, because it is just based off of Arthurian legends, and it's based off of the fact that there used to be so many Arthurian movies being made that they could just make references to how silly some of the moments were. Like, I remember there's a moment where they talk about going to Camelot, and the main dude's like, no, we shan't go to Camelot, 'tis a silly place after all. And that's just related to the fact that all the movies had Camelot have a bunch of silly dancing and singing scenes, and they were like, that made sense at the time. I've never watched any of those movies about like old Arthurian legends, so that just made no sense to me. It was just a funny scene where they think about what's going on at Camelot, and they're like, no, let's not go there. Don't say Camelot, how dare you. Clicks coconuts together, exactly. Them running around pretending they're on horses when actually they're just running in a silly way, going up and down, and then also clicking coconuts together to make the sound of horse hooves. Oh my god, the insults that the French knights shout over the wall that make no sense unless you properly think of them. You have to really think about like olden time words to understand, like, your father smelled of elderberries, talking about the general idea that your father was a drunk because a lot of alcohol was made with elderberries. Oh man, always look on the bright side of life. Such a good song. Such a good song for so many things, because it has that like nihilistic worldview of like, hey, the world's gonna keep spinning and you're gonna be dead someday, who gives a damn? Always look on the bright side of life. Like, it doesn't matter. You're here. Enjoy life while you're here. It's such a good ending to the meaning of life. The meaning of life has so many good moments. And again, a lot of that relatable humor that has to do with like working a 9-to-5 office job, being trapped in something that feels like it takes up your whole life and you don't get any say in. When it comes to like the first opening scene, which also comes into the main storyline later, where you just have the office workers, I think they work at a bank or a financial institute or lawyers or something, just deciding to go rogue, and they hit the high seas. They like literally somehow pull their building out of the ground and start riding it like it's a pirate ship and evading other people and attacking other people. It's some of the stupidest ideas you'll ever see in comedy, and they do it so well and so convincingly. And the actors commit to every role they take so well. It's always so funny. Oh man, why is it always about office life? Because so many people, everybody at some point in their life gets stuck doing a job. I mean, so many of them do focus on like the office life, and I just talk about the 9-to-5 because I feel like everybody has like that first job where it's like either food service or delivering stuff or anything like that. Being an assistant to someone else because you want to start on like a big firm kind of thing, and it's like you have to start by fetching people's coffee and doing like photocopies and stuff. Everybody like starts at that point at some point in their life. We're in the grind, exactly. So yeah, so much humor starts from there and then branches out in different directions. So yeah, that makes it very relatable to adults. Whereas, like, that's one of the reasons that I kind of fell off anime for a long time as well, is because so many of the anime appeal to, like, a younger crowd, and so everything's set in high school or middle school. And it's like, I've had enough of high school settings. Please give us some university, give us some adult, give us some hardworking people. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's, like, one of the best comedy series of all time is The Office. They always, like, focus on that kind of thing. Okay, so Monty Python movies. I'll put out the one that's probably going to get me shat on for being a basic bitch the most. I don't care. It's one of the funniest movies of all time. It's one of the funniest pairs of things of all time. Deadpool, fight me. It's fucking hilarious. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious as Deadpool. The first two movies have been incredible. I hope the third movie is as good. The way that they break the fourth wall, and the way that they've evolved the idea of breaking the fourth wall. Because in the comics, it's so easy for them to just have Deadpool look into the camera and say things, but that has been done to death in cinema. So how do they break the fourth wall beyond breaking the fourth wall in the movies? They have the actor, Ryan Reynolds, make things related to his own life, make things related to other X-Men actors in the real world. Talk about fucking Wolverine instead. Instead of talking about Wolverine, he talks about, oh, what's his actual name? Oh, fuck, what's Wolverine's actor's name? Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Somebody's gonna kill me for that one. Hugh Jackman. I love how somebody typed in huge Jackman. But yeah, bringing out like the real world into things as a way to break the fourth wall beyond that. Talking about Hugh Jackman when it comes to Wolverine, talking about the people who have played multiple different levels of the X-Men. I remember when he talks about like Professor Xavier and he asks like, which one? Is it this one or that one? And then at the end of the films where he gets to like break the fourth wall even further and interact with the real world Ryan Reynolds. Some of the funniest things I've ever fucking seen. And the way that they commit to the storyline so much, with Deadpool like having limbs cut off and growing them back. The emotional like drama parts as well actually work very well. In the first one, it was the general idea of him feeling like he was turned into a monster, didn't deserve love and didn't deserve like a human life anymore. And in the second one, it was more of a family kind of affair where he had to move on with a bit of a tragedy and then find a family and decide that he actually wanted to keep living with them. Like the emotional parts are very good. And then the actual comedy parts just kill me. It really is. There's like a joke every scene minimum, normally like 3 to 4 jokes every scene that are constantly building off of one another and reference each other and reference the entire like comic world as well as the general idea of superhero movies. Ah, man. I don't like the did you recognize the reference type of humor. I feel that. But even then, if it's not like, not even recognizing the reference, I feel like it's pretty silly. And you're able to laugh at like different parts of it. But I get what you mean. Like a lot of it is like, oh, did you get the whole thing about it being Ryan Reynolds or this thing that's related to the comics or, oh, this is funny meme. Like I know that that's a lot of the reasons that people don't like Deadpool in general, is a lot of it comes from the general internet headspace of like regurgitating the same memes that have been there a dozen times. I know that's a lot of the reasons that people are getting kind of sick of Harley Quinn a lot recently as well. It's a lot of reused things. But yeah, I still enjoy those movies so much and can go back and watch them continuously. I love them. Moving on from that, I think this is like one of everyone's favorite movies, and I'm British, so it had to be added in. I feel like a lot of people would say the Cornetto trilogy, and a lot of people think a lot of people's favorite Cornetto trilogy is Shaun of the Dead. Fight me. Again, this is another one where I'm being contrarian about which one is my favorite, but all of them are good, but I'm gonna go with Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is the funniest of the Cornetto trilogy for me, and in general it's just freaking hilarious to me. I didn't really talk about the storyline of Deadpool because there was no real need to. I feel like everybody either knows Deadpool one way or the other. But when it comes to Hot Fuzz, the general idea is there's this amazing police officer who does everything a little bit too perfectly. He basically starts annoying his superiors by being so good. And so to put him in his place, they send him to a tiny little village in, I think, the West Midlands. I feel like it's the West Midlands just because of that accent that everyone has. They have that kind of West Midlander accent from a part of England I couldn't really name, but yeah. So it's a very sleepy village where nothing really happens in the town. It has some of, again, the most quotable moments of all time. Can we get a cornetto? Should we get a cornetto? Should we pop down the pub? those kinds of things, and then also just some of the over-the-top ridiculous things. It turns out there is something big going down on the town, which is also and that's what I love about this movie as well. You think something absolutely terrible is happening in the town, and then it turns out it is something rather more simplistic, just done in a very dark way. You end up laughing your ass off the entire way through. There's scenes where, like, the most important thing the police officers have to do is chase down an angry swan that's chasing around people and hurting them. It's just the one goose. Yeah, it's a goose rather than a swan. There you go. That shows you how long it's been since I watched that movie. But it's just so fucking funny. All of the scenes made me laugh, and just the man jumping over the fence, slamming through. It's just so good. Oh, man. New luck catching them swans then. Exactly. It's so fucking funny. It's just the one goose. It's really freaking funny. It's worth watching no matter what. It's worth watching the entire Cornetto trilogy. I feel like a lot of people say Shaun of the Dead is their favorite. That's just a what would you call that? A parody of like zombie movies. So it's like a zombie apocalypse happens, and it's this one dude who just always spends his days at the pub realizing, oh, a zombie apocalypse has happened. Maybe we should actually do something about it. And then there's The World's End, which is a bit of a nostalgia feeling as well, where it's just a dude trying to do a pub crawl with his friends that he hasn't hung out with for a long time. It's so good. The origin story of Tight Swan. There you go. I was that swan, fucking up the entire village. Anyway, really good movies. All three are worth a watch. I'd say The World's End is probably a bit less good than the other two, but Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are both amazing. Hot Fuzz is just my favorite. Sorry, I really need to remember to say I'm going to be blowing my nose before I just do it and just go dark for like 10 seconds. Sorry. Okay, number 4. They got kind of hard here. I'll go for the obvious one. I feel like everybody knows how much I love this director. Everybody knows by now how much I love vampires. Everybody knows how much I love this movie. So, and the TV series that spawned from it. So fuck it. What We Do in the Shadows. This one is a parody over like documentary kind of movies. It's a mockumentary based on the idea of a film crew going in and recording a group of vampires. And they're vampires from different ages. They take like, oh, yo, let's go Taka. Taka knows about this one. They take like vampires from different ages, which do reference like all of like the different history of sexy vampire kind. Like, they start with like the Nosferatu kind of vampire who's existed for thousands of years, who just looks like a ghoul, like pure white, like stone carved face that doesn't look quite human, the long stabby fingers, the big long ears. And then they have like a vampire who's from like the Middle Ages, so he's a bit more like Dracula. He's a bit sexy, he's fueled by blood and sex. And then they have like the more recent ones that I feel like the main character, who's played by Taika Waititi, who's also the director of this film, like he was probably based off of like the Vampire Chronicles kind of vampires, where he's from like 100 to 200 years ago. He's very effeminate for a man. He's very worried about like spilling blood in places and looking pretty while he does things and doing the dishes and not leaving dead bodies everywhere, whereas some of the other vampires are like, we're vampires, we kill humans, that's all we do, we don't need to make them feel good when they die, we don't need to care about their feelings. And then a very much more modern day vampire where it's just like zero fucks given. What literally like talks about being Twilight continuously, literally says to people in the streets, yeah, I'm Twilight, that's me, I'm Twilight. And the energy vampire, actually didn't come into the movie. I mean, we're talking about the movie right now. The series is actually incredible as well. Unfortunately, the newest season just ended, which is really sad. I fucking love Laszlo in that series, man. Laszlo carries that series. So Laszlo and Nadia are so amazing as characters. Nando's pretty funny as well. Guillermo is a goddamn mood and is hilarious. But sorry, distractions. The series is incredible as well. The movie, however, started it all off, spawned some of the best jokes that happen in like the first few episodes of the TV series. Like they reuse a lot of the jokes from the movies, but they've also gone like a lot further. One of my funniest things when it comes to What We Do in the Shadows is when you meet the werewolves for the first time and you're expecting like these seriously like angsty, over the top people. And instead they show up and they're like really chill and really nice, and yeah, they turn into werewolves, but They don't want to be too aggressive and too ridiculous. Like, they have a leader of the pack, but he tries to tell everyone to be calm. Every time they swear in front of him, he says, "Oh, yeah, calm down, calm down. We're not swear wolves, we're werewolves. We're werewolves, not swear wolves." Like, you cut that out, be nice. He like tries to keep them all basically relaxed. They're basically Luca. I feel that. I feel that. It's like, yeah, no, I'm the evil mafia boss. Pug. Oh my god, I loved the werewolves so much. The vampires were so funny. And again, it's another one of those moments where they occasionally get like the deep emotional parts thrown in. I feel like comedy is one of the best ways to actually hit you with feels as well. Because if you laugh at somebody, if you enjoy somebody's company, if you want to see somebody succeed, as you do with people that make you laugh, that make you happy, then it tears your heart out even more when you suddenly throw yourself into the scenario where they're being destroyed emotionally and you feel bad for them in that regard. Oh. Hello, Taka.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I was playing around and I saw you're talking about movies and shucks, I missed you talking about Hot Fuzz. Damn.
Oh, you can go ahead and talk about Hot Fuzz again. We're still talking about comedy, so that's all good.
What is it? Those three movies is one of my like guilty pleasure movie to watch whenever I don't know what to watch. The whole like Cornetto trilogy.
That's what I mean. Like, comedy movies, you can just put them on at any time. You don't have to be in any kind of mood. But also, if you're in a bad mood, if you're in like a sad mood, you put a comedy movie on, it will often like just draw you out of it immediately and save you from that. Especially if you add alcohol to the mix.
Yeah. There's this like one phase in my back then when I just couldn't stop talking about those three movies. I'm like seeking for anyone who wants to try and will watch with them, just to see their reactions to the movies.
Oh, I feel that. Like, that's yeah. When it comes to like my favorite movies, I try to drag people into watching them as well and be like, "Yo, you need to watch this one though. I want to see your reaction to it. Let's go." Which one is your favorite of the three?
Hot Fuzz.
Let's go. Okay, I feel like for so many people, it's Shaun of the Dead. I'm glad you're with me on Hot Fuzz.
Most of the people is Hot Fuzz, Shaun, and the last one is World's End. But for me, it's my personal is Hot Fuzz, World's End, and Shaun.
Let's go. We're on the same
I just have more
then.
like what is it? Like deeper attachment to the themes of the World's End.
Oh, okay. I
don't know. Seeing like all the like old friends getting together to do things they haven't finished before, just kind of hits home.
Yeah, the nostalgia hits hard. Like, I was talking about my top 10 movies earlier, and we talked about like a lot of those kinds of movies where people that have been separated for like 10 years or so come back, and it's just like, oh wow, things really have changed. We'll never be able to go back to like back then.
And yeah, at that point, I just follow whatever Edgar Wright made.
Oh yeah, he's great. His comedy is always so hilarious.
Yeah, he made Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim also, right?
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim's really good. Baby Driver, yeah, actually really good. Like, the action in that is so good. The music is so good. The direction, like the way the music blends in with the action scenes so well.
Geez.
Yeah, they deal with that so perfectly. You love to see it. You can't get bored while watching Baby Driver.
I know every time they do something, it'll just put you on the edge of your seat. Even though you're not the one who's driving, like you're just sitting there, watch them drive.
100%, yeah. Oh, and I love the way they blend the music into the action.
I like John Hamm and Jamie Foxx as well. They're good.
They're all good. And yeah, Scott Pilgrim's one of my probably favorite 100 films of all time.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
The action is so good. It's probably the closest we're gonna get to a Western-made live-action adaptation of an anime film.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one film where they actually committed and they were just like, you know what? We're gonna make this exactly as much like the comic as we can. They've never done that properly with an anime film for some reason, and it angers me so much.
I know. At the first, like, okay, they're doing like the gag or something, but the moment they try to show the seven deadly axes, I forgot like the titles of it, but where the evil axes
the seven
showing
evil
and
axes.
they battles. That's what the point was. Okay, they took it very this way, and I don't mind any single second of it.
Yeah, like it starts off like down to earth, you're right, and then it's the dude shows up and like punches him in the face and does like the Bollywood dance and then flies into the air,
the first one,
summons the succubuses. Then you're like, oh, this is what this movie's gonna be like. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, with Chris Evans as well with the skateboards.
Yeah, it gets so wild. They deal with some of the exes in such funny ways.
Yeah, everyone casted so well, I think, in that movie. I was like, I can't really imagine anyone else doing that.
Nah, they did such a good job. I feel like we're never gonna get a movie like that again.
I know, it's a real one thing.
I'm gonna add my 5th favorite movie, a comedy movie, which is The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh my god! I was holding myself. I was going to talk about it.
Oh,
it's
let's
one
go.
of my favorite. It's my top 10 as well.
Top 10 comedies or top 10 films of all time?
Both, I guess. I just really like the whole theme of if we talk about the cinematography first, like the whole symmetry is just like eye candy to you to like see the scenes.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's the same for pretty much every movie directed by Wes Anderson. Like they're all put together so well. They have such a unique cinematography style where every time you get into a Wes Anderson film, you know it's got to be like well directed. If nothing else, it's got to be visually exciting. Oh man. I think that was the first time I see like Willem Dafoe play like really like hilarious character. It's funny, yeah, because
it's a very funny character.
He always does. Like, this is one of the ones that got into like my honorable mentions. It wasn't in my main ones, but one of my favorite films of all time is Devil's Advocate, where Willem Dafoe literally plays. No, wait, no, that wasn't Willem Dafoe. Don't worry about it. That's somebody else. That's The Godfather. Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, no, Willem Dafoe.
Al Pacino.
Yeah, it's Al Pacino that plays Satan in that. It's so good. Millie, jump in chat, damn it. I know you're here. Shit, that's my favorite film. Exactly, get in here. But yeah, Willem Dafoe like used to be typecasted as like the evil, scary kind of character. Like him as Green Goblin works so well.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't think no one could like pull out the personality like that. It's not just like portraying someone's being like a psychopath or something. It's about like have two personalities try to fight each other in the same body.
Yeah.
Without label themselves as psychopath.
Yeah, and both doing like really good with each other. Like he managed to sell himself both as like the family man and the scary, dangerous person that needs to be dealt with.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that movie. So much of it is just so good. Like you said, the cinematography is amazing. The characters are so over the top and zany, but you end up loving them so much as if they're part of your family anyway.
Yeah.
Man. That one, and then I also feel like what kind of leveled up, not leveled up, but kind of spawned off of that one, The French Connection. I think it's called The French Connection, the newer one by Wes Anderson, which feels like it's a very similar idea about like a newspaper, but it's got like similar characters where they're all a bit over the top and a bit like larger than life, but you can't help but just love them so much. Okay, fine, Millie, you aren't joining us? We're gonna move on then.
Films like that really like makes you really attached to the characters.
And then you just don't want them to end. You end up rewatching them time and time again to remember some of their quotes.
To be part of with the cast. Oh, House of Dogs. Millie mentioned House of Dogs. Yeah, it's a really good one.
Oh, The French Dispatch. Thank you, not The French Connection. But yeah, Isle of Dogs is really good as well. That's definitely less comedy and more like drama. But yeah, Isle of Dogs is amazing.
The stop motion one, right?
Yeah. The stop motion one with like, the literal island dogs and the kid who goes to find his puppy on the island. Oh, that's so good. It's a really good adventure film, a really good family film. That and Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's what I like about Wes Anderson as well. Like the movies he makes feel so different from each other. He manages to keep his directorial style throughout all of them, but at the same time, he directs so many different things in so many different ways.
You just know that it's his film when you see one.
Yeah, you
I
know
think
he's
that's
gonna
like
make it
the
his way.
highest achievement as someone who makes art or product, that people just know it's yours.
Yeah, if they can
Even
see it
though
and
no
just
one
instantly
mentioned
know,
it, yeah.
I feel like this is directed by this person. That's when you know you've got like a very unique style. Like I feel like that's the same for like Tim Burton, even though he does like dark comedies as well. Tim Burton movies are some of my favorites already, though. I don't think I have many in my list, but yeah, like he even did Batman his own way.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. I think from there I'm gonna move on to top 5 horrors.
Ooh.
Do you have any favorite horror movies, Taka?
Don't really watch much horror though.
Oh wait, I also wanted to do my oh shit, my honorable mentions for comedies. And for these, I'll just like say them out loud, and I'll see if you know any of them as well, which include Game Night, which is a really funny one where a group of friends meet up to play like board games and stuff, but it turns into like a murder mystery, where it turns out that there's an actual murder and kidnapping happening, which is really good. Thor Ragnarok, another Taika Waititi one, freaking hilarious. I can't believe they took Thor from like the second floor, like kind of ruined Thor for me, and then the third Thor saved it. Made it comedy again and made it worth watching. Young Frankenstein, really old film. Mel Brooks.
Oh damn, Young Frankenstein. Yeah.
Young Frankenstein's so good. All of Mel Brooks's films are so good. Young Frankenstein's one that I could actually put in the list and be like, yo, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
It has Gene Wilder as well, right? The Willy Wonka guy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so good. I love it so much. Naked Gun, the whole Naked Gun series.
Oh, I used to watch that with my father from the video rental.
That's what I mean. Like, these are so old as well. They've been out forever and they're still hilarious.
It's the one with Leslie Nielsen, right?
Leslie Nielsen doing his damnedest. Yeah.
That's nostalgic.
I know, the nostalgia. And kind of similar kind of feeling like the other guys, which feels like a modern day Naked Gun, where it takes like modern day cop dramas rather than classic cop dramas and like redoes them. That one has, I forget, it definitely has Mark Wahlberg, and it has for a short while The Rock, and I think Samuel L. Jackson. It's just a really freaking hilarious movie about two cops that are terrible at their job trying to solve like an international level mystery. It's really good.
Oh, is it The Other Guys?
The Other Guys, yeah.
Yeah. It has Will Ferrell as well.
Will Ferrell, that's the other one, yeah, alongside Mark Wahlberg. So funny, him accidentally being a pimp. Will Ferrell being the ladies' man in the movie that everyone just loves. Oh my god, so good. This Is the End, which has a ton of celebrities in it, all playing themselves. Not sure if you've heard of that one, but it's got like Seth Rogen, James Franco, Jonah Hill,
I know,
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera as well.
Yeah, all playing themselves, where just like the apocalypse has happened. All the good people have been like raptured up to the heavens, and all the celebrities are just like left there exploring the world, where it's like preparing for the end times. It's great. Revelations has started to happen. It's so freaking hilarious. Oh man. And then like Office Christmas Party, which I don't think many people know. It's like one of the main reasons I found Office Christmas Party is because Kate McKinnon is in it. It's just a really funny movie about like this one office trying to work really hard to get everything set up, have a Christmas party, even though some political dramas happening in the backgrounds. 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, really good. And one that I watched recently, which I'm not sure anyone would have heard of, Office Royale, also known as Hell's Garden, which is an over-the-top Japanese movie. I'm actually going to write this one down because I want people to look this up and watch the trailer.
Ooh, I haven't.
Okay. Office Royale, I'm just going to put this back to comedy. Office Royale is this really hilarious one where it's set in a world where office ladies go into work, but then while they also do their normal jobs of like doing OL stuff, working at an office, they also have like Yakuza level fights. Like I'm talking Yakuza the game, not Yakuza like in general. Yakuza the game where all of the office ladies will just like, rip off their sleeves and start beating the shit out of each other. Like different companies work as different gangs and they try to fight each other to be the strongest like gang of office ladies. They have really good martial arts fights. They like jump through the air and beat the crap out of each other. It's ridiculous. It's so silly. Oh, I love it so much. I think it only came out like 2 years ago, but it instantly became like one of my favorite comedy movies to watch in the future.